final artifact is the one that brings the most emotion to me. It's known as my workplace learning experience. And my task was to intern with a professional organization, and then eventually, after my time with that organization, do a project or give back to them in one way. And my final product was I had to present my work in a form of a keynote. Okay. So, have you guys heard of the juvenile justice system? And are you well aware of the fact that we incarcerate so many people? Because California spends the most money on jails in the country. And Macomb Youth Court is known as a diversion program. And what that means is that we steer people away from juvenile hall. So here's the process. I commit a crime, I committed petty theft. Now I get arrested by the police, and then they read my Miranda rights. For example, you have the right to remain silent. So examples of that. And once that, they actually check your record, see if there's any warrants or arrests, and then they decide whether to recommend you for diversion. And that's totally up to the discretion of the officer. They could say, yes, I want you in diversion, or no, I don't. So diversion is this concept that you get rerouted. So instead of the youth offender going straight to juvenile hall and staining their record, they go through our program. So they go on this completely different path. The second is restorative justice. So when an offender comes to our program, they are given a sentence, and they have to already admit guilt to be admitted into the program. So it's not about guilt or innocence. It's a matter of what they did and how will they be able to give back to the community to repair the damage they've done. So that's why they do community service hours, they take workshops, and interact with more peers who've also been in similar situations so they can learn how to build stronger communities in the future. And the mission is to keep people out of the juvenile justice system. So, I took a basic law class before I actually was able to take cases as an attorney. And I had to learn about court proceedings. For example, there's a term known as voir dire, and that means that you swear in a jury, and then you have the attorneys make their statements. So the prosecution goes first, then the defense, then the defendant, then the jury questions them, then the prosecution and the defense pressing them, and then each attorney comes out with closing statements. So I had to learn about that, and I also had to learn about attorney ethics. What rights do attorneys have? What is their obligation to their clients? And finally, the penalty code. So those are the actual, in fine print, the description of each type of crime that a person commits. All right. So this is a video of youth court in the media, done by the Agnes Francais Presse, and basically a woman from South Africa. She had journalism experience. She came to the program and she asked us if she could do a brief little documentary about us.
Once you get in, it's hard to get out.
Less than 10% of teens reoffend while they're in the program. Many go on to careers in law.
What happened was when I was prosecuting the case, the other attorney gave these very long statements, like 5 minutes, and then the jurors were all like, and the bailiff had to scream at a few of them to wake up. Hey, get up, get up! You know, so I eventually talked to this person after court, and she said, I want to become a more concise public speaker. It's a great idea, great intention, but the problem was that she didn't know how to set a specific goal. And my thesis was that people who could identify areas of growth and specifically zoom in on them could set effective goals and accomplish them. So my job, or my project, was to actually teach the attorneys how to set effective goals. Continue. So in order to actually do my project, I had to do a little research. What are some good examples of goals? Who should I go talk to about setting goals? And then once I did a little research on the web, went in the library, checked out some books on how you outline effective projects. Then I created my own outline of sample goal, and I taught them. On the sheet, it included steps to set an effective goal, a made-up goal I made, by the way, and I gave it to them, and then tips and strategies that the attorneys could use to help shape their own goals. Then I presented my sheet to my advisor. He made me do a few revisions. Then I scheduled a time to actually implement the project at youth court, and that was the execution phase. So the leadership skill I had to demonstrate here was completing projects effectively. So in doing this project, I had to actually create a plan that met the needs of the attorneys, but more than that, I had to learn how to revise my process because the process can always change. It's the final product that matters. So for example, I thought I would not have to make any revisions on my goal setting sheet, but I'm glad that I went through the process of having my work critiqued because it made my work stronger in the process. and I also had to use the resources I had around me. So in the end, the attorneys were able to identify areas they needed to improve in and create specific goals. I tried to get a few of the goals out here, but most of them felt really uncomfortable mentioning their goals because they were very personal. So my strength was being able to communicate with my peers. So I had to tell them, this is how you set a goal. And I had to give them specific instructions, and then they followed them. And an area of growth is setting the benchmarks. For the most part, I've always had benchmarks set for me. So in the future, I'm going to start creating a calendar on my phone with the alarm to remind me of due dates that I set for myself. And in order to achieve world peace, I believe it's important to take the simple steps and consult others in the process. So much of the knowledge that I had from my federalism concept came from this program. And in the future, I have to take my knowledge of helping others through the legal system, and I want to cherish this passion. So I want to take this knowledge and help others throughout the world build positive lives for themselves. Thank you. Questions? Yes, sir.
How would you say doing your WLE experience relates to some of your personal goals? So not necessarily just what your goals are based on your weaknesses from WLE, but how did your WLE experience help you improve things that you want to improve?
Well, when I was doing presentations in the past, I was very informal. I had my hands in my pockets. So today we're going to talk about this, and that's not professional. So going through this program, they really taught me how to be professional. And if I want to really make a case for world peace, I want to be someone that's seen as someone to take very serious. Because if I'm looking like this, I believe that, yeah, let's achieve world peace, right? No one's going to take me seriously. So I need to really learn how to present myself in front of others so they will take what I say seriously and they'll want to join in my efforts for world peace. So really going through this program taught me how to be more formal. Yeah.
Earlier in the presentation for this artifact, you said something about making it clear to youth that have been maybe charged with some sort of crime, whatever that might be. A misdemeanor, that it's not about guilt or innocence.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really a really interesting point, interesting topic. So can you maybe explain what a problem is with focusing on guilt or innocence rather than restoring what's been done?
Okay, so the problem with guilt or innocence is that you basically just point the finger at someone and say, you did the crime, you didn't. And in court cases, many times we just focus on, did you do it or did you not? They don't really focus on what are known as mitigating and aggravating factors. Mitigating factors are circumstances that make a crime seem less severe. So for example, if I was pressured to steal shoes by a dozen others, then that would be an example of a mitigating circumstance. But if I clearly snuck up on someone and I violently hit them, that would be an aggravating. Aggravating is where it makes a crime more serious to deserve a harsher sentence. So it's important to take those factors into account truly so that you can give the best sentence for the offender.
Sam, why do you think we have WLE at our school?
Okay.
And do you feel like you accomplished whatever you think the goal was?
I believe the purpose behind having the workplace learning experience is to get a better sense of what I might want to do or pursue as a career in the future. So for example, I learned one thing, I don't want to be an attorney because being an attorney means you have to stick to people that sometimes may not be the nicest people, clients especially. I'm not going to give any personal examples now. So I learned that I thought I had a huge passion about going into law and becoming a lawyer, but I didn't. But helping me go through this program, helping me do the WLE period, helped me teach me what I do like and what I might not be interested. So I learned to filter out and just focus more on areas that I want to pursue in the future. And I believe that it certainly has fulfilled its goal for me because now I have a sense that maybe I want to work in restorative justice as a career. But if I didn't go through this program and have the workplace learning experience, I would never have learned about the unique qualities of this program, so it would not have been able to serve me. Okay.
I want to know, what role do you feel communicating powerfully played when you were working with the other attorneys?
The hugest role ever, because part of being able to communicate powerfully is learning how to clarify and be specific, because many times when I was presenting myself to others, I was very informal, so I always assumed they knew what I was talking about. The problem is that people come from different backgrounds. They might not be as familiar with what I'm trying to teach them, so I wanted to become more specific and be able to be clear and speak louder. Because when I was in 9th grade, I spoke like this. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So I spoke very softly, but being at Macomb Youth Court, they taught me how to be loud, how to present myself well, and by doing that, I was able to communicate more powerfully with my peers. So they really taught me how to learn how to interact with